Drivers, listen up. Despite flashing lights, school zone cameras in New Orleans are off.
Well, none are up and running and will not be for the foreseeable future. So are you and your kids less safe? And what is the city doing without the money generated from those cameras?
We got those answers in a WDSU Investigate story, School Speeding Shutdown.
In the heart of the Coliseum Square area, right in the Lower Garden District, neighbors like the school zone speed cameras that make drivers slow down near kids.
I think the cameras are fine. I don't have a problem with them. I think it's important to keep kids safe.
We need to keep the kids' safety in mind.
But across New Orleans, while the lights are flashing and the signs are up, photo enforced, this is not reality anymore. Because in school zones all across the city, there are no cameras that are shooting radar and cracking down on speeders. They've all been turned off, from when school started last August through when classes let out in May. A shock to many.
I think it's a bad thing.
The reason for the shutdown? A lawsuit. In her final months in office, former Mayor LaToya Cantrell took legal action against the state of Louisiana, challenging a law that required the city to split revenue collected from the school zone speed cameras with the local school district. That lawsuit, filed last August, and while it's still pending, nothing can happen. No radar shot, no tickets issued, nothing.
School zone speed cameras doesn't look like they're going to go back on. Does that come as a surprise?
It's not a surprise to me, no. It does not seem to be a priority for the city to get this moving.
Katie Bodwin is an Orleans Parish School Board member who has worked to keep the cameras on, saying it's all about safety.
And I worry the longer that they're off, the more people get used to either speeding or going the speed limit, but not slower in school zones.
Advocates agree.
The goal of these speed enforcement cameras is to drive long-term behavioral change.
Tess Rowland is a former CEO of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or MAD, and is currently a board member of Responsibility.org, which advocates for impaired driving prevention.
Speed can really mean life or death. Data from the U.S. Department of Transportation shows that when a crash occurs at 30 miles per hour, the risk of severe injury or death to a pedestrian is at 45%. When that speed drops to just 20 miles per hour, that risk is reduced to just 5%.
A City Hall spokesperson for the Moreno administration declined comment on this topic, citing pending litigation. But in the last 10 months, since the cameras have been up but off, the city has not seen a spike in traffic-related crashes in school zones.
Yeah, it is absolutely proof that it's just nothing but a money grab.
Monroe-based State Senator Stuart Cathy wrote the bill that became law. The law the city is legally challenging. And speaking of money, a City Hall source tells WDSU Investigates that while New Orleans' financial woes are well documented, the lack of money collected from the cameras will not be missed.
Look, across the state, this was not just centered in New Orleans. All these municipalities saw this as just an easy way to go in and extort money out of people.
Is it public safety and safety around schools more than the revenue part of this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the revenue from these cameras, it's not something that we're going to build our budget around. However, we want to make sure the point of traffic cameras is to change behavior.
But until this legal fight is resolved, the eyes in the sky will remain off. People who live near schools just want to make sure their families are safe.
I don't really see what the big deal is with having them enforced. If you're driving like you're supposed to, this shouldn't be a problem.